Welcome to Seek Out the Arts for March 2023. I hope that you enjoyed that reenactment I did of Johannes Vermeer's Girl with a Pearl Earring. It was really fun for me to step into that role and to imagine what it would be like to be the very mysterious girl. In this month's Seek Out the Arts, we are going to take a deep dive into Girl with a Pearl Earring. And in keeping with the Baroque theme, we're going to be listening to some transcendent Baroque music. We're going to be reading springtime poetry and so much more. But before we get further into everything, I want to thank the Chic Society for bringing us this wonderful series here on YouTube. The Chic Society is channel memberships here on my channel. But I do one vodcast every Friday. We go live together once a month. We have these 1 hour deep conversations with each other, which is pretty amazing. And we also have a pen pal program. So there's so much in the Chic Society. If you love this channel, if you'd like to support the arts and bring this series to YouTube, consider joining. You've been seeing the names of some of the upper tiers on the screen. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing the Elegant Connoisseurs with you. They are artists, writers, business owners, and high patrons of the channel. And I want to thank the Chic Society so much for bringing us Seek Out the Arts. So let's jump right back into Girl with a Pearl Earring. Everybody watching this video has probably heard of this painting, seen an image of it. It's one of the most famous paintings in the world. It was painted by Johannes Vermeer in the Netherlands between the years of 1664 and 1666. I think what captivates us about Girl with a Pearl Earring is how little we actually know about the painting. We know very little about this painting. We do not know who the subject of the painting is. And the painting is not actually a portrait. Most people would look at this and think, oh, this is a portrait of a girl. But technically it is a trony. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I got mixed interpretations of how you pronounce that. But it's a trony, I'll put the word on the screen, which is a representation of a character. It's a genre that developed exclusively in the art of the Dutch Golden Age and the Flemish Baroque, and it refers to a physiognomical study of a typical human character. So this is a character study rather than a portrait, and in this case the subject represents an exotic and beguiling character. So let's look at her clothing first, because that's what's indicating to us that she is exotic and beguiling. The girl is wearing a turban, and in fact this painting has not always been called Girl with a Pearl Earring. But some of the earlier names for it were Girl in a Turban, Head of a Girl in a Turban, The Young Girl with the Turban, or Head of a Young Girl. So the girl's wearing a simple brownish yellow top, which contrasts strongly with her bright white collar. A further contrast is offered by her blue and yellow turban, or chaperon, which gives a picture of a distinctly exotic effect. Vermeer used ultramarine paint for the turban that was made from crushed lapis lazuli. And remember when we studied the Annunciation by Fra Angelico, he used that really expensive ultramarine paint for Mary's gown. But the paint was so expensive that few of Vermeer's contemporaries were able to use it. But Vermeer was able to use this expensive paint on a regular basis because of funding from his wealthy patron, Pieter van Ruijven. Turbans were a relatively common accessory in Europe from the 15th century. Now let's talk about the famous pearl. It was created with 2 brush strokes and it is rather large. Pearl reflects the light, but also the collar of her dress. Now many conjecture that this is not actually a pearl, but something like a glass bauble earring, because the light that reflects off the pearl in the painting does not match that of a real pearl. Art curator Quentin Bouvelot explains that large pearls were rare and ended up in the hands of the richest people on the planet. In the 17th century, cheaper glass pearls, usually from Venice, were also quite common. They were made from glass, which was lacquered to give it a matte finish. So maybe this is what the girl with the pearl earring is wearing. She's wearing a handcrafted pearl. Now let's look at her expression. She is gazing directly at the viewer. She's looking at you. And what is she thinking? To me, there seems to be a lot of longing in her eyes. It's almost like she longs to tell me something important as she walks away, but is unsure of what to say. Her lips are red and parted and glossy, giving off a sensual feel. Because of her mysterious look, this painting has also garnered the nickname the Mona Lisa of the North, because her eyes give an expression that's at once familiar but also unrecognizable. The background of this painting is dark and indiscernible and nearly black, which is unusual for Vermeer. Normally you sense the room or the setting that the subject was in, but because this is a Trony and we are doing a character study, he wants the character to pop rather than the surroundings, which would make it more like a portrait. I read that the background is actually a glossy dark green, but over time it has become black looking with age. Even though we don't know who the girl is, the painting has inspired a best-selling novel and a major motion picture. The painting resides in Moritz House, The Hague, and Moritz House loaned Girl with the Pearl Earring to Japan, Italy, and the United States for exhibitions in the recent past, but once that tour concluded, in July of 2014, the museum announced that the painting would stay in their collection within their walls indefinitely, so it's never leaving. And so Girl with a Pearl Earring joined the ranks of Botticelli's Birth of Venus, Picasso's Guernica, and La Demoiselle d'Avignon as works sworn to stay safe in their home museums for all time. The Girl with a Pearl Earring has always captivated me, and I enjoyed putting on the turban, the pearl, pretending that I was her, getting into that headspace, wondering what she was thinking. So it's true we don't know who she was. Some people think she could have been Vermeer's daughter. Some people think she was a model, an artist model, or a neighbor. But whoever she was, I love thinking about the moment when the artist asked this girl, "Would you please sit for me?" And just the magnitude of knowing now what a big moment that was, where she dons the dress, the turban, the earring, and she looks at him and he paints her. She, of course, could never know how impactful that sitting would be, and that people hundreds of years later would be thinking about her every day, would be flying to see her in this famous museum. It just gives me the chills. So I really hope that you enjoyed this deep dive of Girl with the Pearl Earring. I would love to know, have you seen this painting in person? If so, let us know what your experience was like in the comment section down below. We are staying with the Baroque theme for music for the musical selection for this month because I was recently invited by my wonderful opera friends Bonnie and Jeffrey Schindler to attend the LA Opera, and they were hosting the English concert, which is a UK orchestra who is performing Handel's Solomon. I had never seen Handel Solomon performed or even heard the piece. Of course, everyone knows Handel's Messiah, but Solomon was incredible. I told my friend that it was like the music that would be played on repeat in heaven. Like, it was so amazing. They had these old harpsichords there, and the orchestra was incredible. The chorus, the soloists, we had such an amazing night. So I'm going to be sending you to the English Concerts YouTube channel. I would love for you to subscribe to them. They are wonderful. And I have a very short piece. It is only an extract from The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba. So you can get a sense of what the whole piece is like from this one piece, and it is just so incredibly life-giving and jubilant, and it's perfect for spring. So I will leave the English concert and their performance of The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba from Handel's Solomon down below. Spring is officially here, and I have 3 classic spring poems to read to you to celebrate the arrival of the new season. The first poem is by Robert Herrick, and it's called Two Daffodils. And I selected this because we had our daffodils pop up recently, and I forgot that I planted those last year. So it was so nice when they came up and just reminded me that spring was at the door. So this is Two Daffodils by Robert Herrick. Fair daffodils, we weep to see you haste away so soon. As yet the early rising sun has not attained his noon. Stay, stay, under the hasting day has run. But to the evensong, and having prayed together, we will go with you along. We have as short as spring, as quick a growth to meet decay as you or anything. We die as your hours do, and dry away, like to the summer's rain, or as the pearls of morning's dew, ne'er to be found again. I love that he captures the fleeting nature of daffodils. They don't last very long, and that's why I'm so whipped up into a frenzy when I see them. And I love that he references pearls, since we just studied Girl with the Pearl Earring, the pearls of morning's dew. The next poem is by William Wordsworth, and it is Lines Written in Early Spring. I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a grove I sate reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed to thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? I love William Wordsworth. And the final poem is by D.H. Lawrence, The Enkindled Spring. This spring as it comes bursts up in bonfires green, wild puffing of emerald trees and flame-filled bushes, thorn blossom lifting in wreaths of smoke between, where the wood fumes up and the watery flickering rushes. I am amazed at this spring, this conflagration of green fires lit on the soil of the earth, this blaze of growing, and sparks that puff in wild gyration, faces of people streaming across my gaze. And I, what fountain of fire am I among this leaping combustion of spring? My spirit is tossed about like a shadow buffeted in the throng of flames, a shadow that's gone astray and is lost. I hope you enjoyed those 3 poems on spring. I always like to give a final thing that we can focus on for the next month. And we are in the season of spring and of course spring cleaning. And I want us all to focus on decluttering, because I think that everyone could always do a little bit of decluttering, even if your house is pretty organized. Decluttering is good for the soul. It causes you to reflect. It causes you to think about what you want, what you don't want. It causes you to beautify your space. And so we are going to be reflecting on decluttering this spring on the channel. And I hope that that encourages you in your own journey. And now I would like to introduce the Elegant Connoisseurs to you.
The 90-Day Novel with Alan Watt from the LA Writers Lab.
Jenny Williams from Carrot Top Paper Shop. Elaine Brisebois, certified nutritionist and women's weight loss coach.
Elva Lee, luxury branding.
Emily McNeil, fine art. Ashley Buffa, Freedom Mom's Smart Kids Chore System. Carrie Van Hooser, author of 'Tis the Season for Poetry.
Artist Kelly Cruz at kellycruzcreative.com.
Macondo Forever, woven placemats. Mrs. Shockley from A Home for Elegance. Teresa Maples from Self-Care Routine Cards. Ellen's Scottish Shortbread. Sturm Brothers Custom Design and Fine Jewelry.
Studio Duquesa, fine art branding and stationery.
The Apron Diva by Denise Jordan, with pretty and practical aprons.
And thank you to the following: Catherine Ray, Anne-Marie Ramsey, Amber Winston, Catherine Higginbotham, Darby Zweifel, Jenny Candelaria, Jet Rowley Heron, Gina K. Henry, Julie Coleman, Juliette Keeler-Labin, Karen Lynn Interior Design, Linda Eckloff, Carly Tom from Living in Loveliness, Maria Condor, Marie Caudill, Mika Higginbotham, Moonshadow Welsh Ponies, Morning Miracles Challenge, Royal Crow, and Sean Ricci.
Thank you so much to the Chic Society for bringing us Seek Out the Arts. You are doing something amazing by bringing art and culture to the YouTube space. I thank you so much, and I love my channel members. If you're interested in joining, you can click the join button down below, or I will leave a link in the description box. If you join, do not join on your phone because iTunes marks up the price. So join on your laptop or your computer, and then you can watch on your phone after you join. I wanted to say that bit until they fix that problem that still persists. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the poetry, the painting, the music, all of it. Keep calm and remain classy, everyone, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!